It's Antron Brown, driver of the Macro Tools Top Fuel Dragster, and yes, I'm a 3-time world champ. But you know what? When I win, I go straight to WFO Radio, baby. I want to see you listening in.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. WFO Radio back on the air. We got Circle K 4-wide Nationals Pro Stock Motorcycle winner Steve Johnson on the show again, right? If you don't know WFO Radio, you don't know what it's all about. We like to do all kinds of different stuff in the sport of drag racing. Of course, we talked a lot of F1 this past week. Let me move this. And that's part of our shtick, except shows like this one, you win. And Steve Johnson won his way back on the show. He might win his way back on the rest of the season. He might win every race, including this weekend, the Virginia Nationals. We just don't know. So what does Steve have to say? If you are a fan of Steve, I suggest you share the show, retweet it, tweet it, do one of those things out there. Copy and paste the link on YouTube because Steve Johnson, he's been on fire. He's been bringing it lately. All right, before we get to Steve, though, we got to tell you about a couple of big things that are happening in the WFO universe that I want you all to know, like the new WFO Radio mobile app update. It is up in the chat section right now. It is free for iPhone and Android. You can check out all the videos. You can check out all the audio podcasts, the WFO Radio Fantasy League scores and news put out in the news section. But I was, playing around with it in the app too the other day, and I was able to go to the WFO store and buy a mug through the app, and I was so excited. Like, that's something that's cool. But most importantly, enable push notifications. So you know when things are happening. Like, for instance, at 2 o'clock today, coming up at 2 o'clock, a few minutes from now, 2 o'clock, Justin Ashley is going to be on the show. Steve's got his own show. Justin's got his own show, and it is going to be great. So there it is. I've pitched the app. Hopefully you will download it and you will check it and you will enjoy it and you will appreciate it as we have over all of these years. Now, let me tell you about the people who make it possible. You already heard about FTIperformance.com and VP Racing Fuels. We'll tell you a little more about them later, along with our great sponsors like samtech.edu, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and our great friend Marvin Rodak, the craft coffee roaster from Fort Worth, Texas. But a big shout out to Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Go to the website, totalseal.com. You can order your rings. You can order a ring. You can research your rings. Or you can get technical information and even listen to the Hidden Horsepower podcast. Plus, phillipsconnect.com. If you're over the road, trucks, trailers, fleets, think about Amazon, think about Walmart, think of all the trucks they've got going over the road. It's very important that they stay connected. And you can get connected as well at phillipsconnect.com, phillips-connect.com, to find out what sensors would be best for your fleet. Temperatures, like a whole host of sensors to monitor temperatures from phillips-connect.com. We'll talk to Justin Ashley about that a little bit later on in the show. And then we'll tell you how to become a Patreon. But right now, we're going to go out to the shop of the hobby racer himself, Mr. Steve Johnson. And look at this guy. He's not even there. There he is, his big entrance. Steve Johnson.
Oh, are we on? I was just stirring the pot. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I hope it seems to be burning. This is burning. Yes. Okay.
Okay. So let's get into it, Steve. The last time we were on, you had one Houston. You stirred the pot.
Background.
Thank you very much. You stirred the pot and then you backed it up at ZMAX Dragway. And we're going to talk about the round by round and all, but you've kind of taken over this, like, is he a good guy wrestler? Is he a bad guy wrestler? I don't know how I feel about this. Like, but you're being a character, you're stirring the pot on purpose, and you're backing it up on the racetrack.
Well, hey, Joe, I appreciate anybody in the motorsports world that can put content online and in the media, on television. I mean, I'm just so grateful. This is my career, despite what some people want to point out. This is my career. It's been my career forever. I guess that's what made me so mad in the beginning. You know, it's like I never considered myself a hobbyist. I was all in, if anything. But that's our society. It's like I'm gonna shame him, or I'm gonna shame her, or it's like the headlines is everything, right? So nobody peels the onion back and really looks at what's going on. Or some people don't peel the onion back, and that's where I think they need to really understand. But it makes it fun. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I love how you kind of stir a little bit, and I went back and watched the show, and there's a couple of people online that somebody sent me a post that they screenshot the post. And the guy says, some people don't know that they're saying bad things. And I'm like, I went back and listened to it. I stand behind everything I said. If you take the context, if you watch the show, I wasn't beating on Angel. I was having fun with her. And I certainly don't think I said anything bad about anybody, whether you're a good racer or not, whether you're a guy or a girl, Asian, white, black, whatever it is. Just have fun, be a fantastic human being. And so I stirred the pot a little bit, I guess, just having fun, and people throw the rods out. So, to heck with you people. I ain't worried about you. Go find somebody else that you can stand behind and have your same kind of, this is my opinion, and it's hopefully my sponsor's opinion, not hurting anybody, but love our sport so much that I want to scream and holler my opinion about it.
Okay, so on that note, we're talking about I assume we're talking about the last time you were on the show, and that's great, and I appreciate that. Oh my gosh, Steve, like this is a very pertinent conversation to our world right now, because people, comedians who are going on stage are being told that they can't tell certain jokes and insulting people for, who they are, what they do. Like that's less acceptable than it used to be back in the day, but we're like all figuring it out, like in real time. Like you can say this, but you can't say that. You can say that, but and a lot of it makes sense and some of it doesn't. And so you caught some flack for some of the comments that you made on the show last time, and people thought you were, and tell me if I'm wrong, people thought you were like running down women, right? Like, Steve Johnson is running down women, right? Angel and Angie. But I didn't take it that way. I felt like you were running down your competitors, and in NHRA drag racing, we have gone beyond the whole man-woman dynamic, right? Like, isn't everybody a competitor? Like Erica Enders always says, I don't want to be the best female drag racer. I want to be the best drag racer. And doesn't that mean that a boy drag racer can make fun of a girl drag racer and vice versa equally, or no? Like, I don't know. And I think you've kind of stepped in that right now with this. What did you learn from this experience?
That's what's, again, thank you for having the platform, because I feel like I'm a little bit more compassionate about our understanding of what I feel like I'm more compassionate about people's perception of what they hear. Even though I may say black and white, they may hear gray, or, I don't know if that's a good analogy, but that I watched that show. I did that thing with Angie, like that with the finger.
Yes.
I'm like, if you just watched one little clip of that, it may have seemed like I was making fun of her. How she works on her engine, and it got valve springs. And like a pro stock car, they want to change the valve springs, so they put a lever on there and they pull really, really hard against the stud that holds the rocker arm, and they pull this big bar, a huge bar, and to push on the retainer, and then they hit the retainer to jar the keepers loose so they can get the spring out and change it. Well, Angie missed it. Well, everybody that's used a hammer has hit their finger. The problem is you got to hit hard, and Angie hit the hell out of her finger, and I'm just guessing all that is what happened. Anyway, she smoked her finger so bad. Yeah. I saw her in the press room at Bristol, and I was like, heck. So anyway, close the door on this thing. If you just took it as this, yeah, I'm making fun of her smashing her finger. I absolutely did. Yeah. But I made it in context. It's like, what other girl is pounding a valve spring retainer off on her pro stock motorcycle? She's a badass. Yeah. And I haven't had this conversation with her to try to get her to understand the context of what I was saying. And she might not even like it. She might not care what I say. But to everybody else, I don't mean it. Hey, I can't race by myself. That's why I try to explain to Matt. He wants to dog out people. I'm like, say stuff that gets them encouraged about our sport, and especially spending money on motorcycles in our class to come out and race, because you can't just race with, yourself and Angie. So, and I'm not saying I'm sorry. I ain't saying I'm sorry for nothing that I said, okay? I had fun doing it. And Angel, I get it. I screwed up. It's not glitter. She doesn't work on glitter. It's Swarovski crystals. Yes, Swarovski, or that. I'm going to go to the mall.
There's a mall. There's a shop in the mall, and when it comes to crystals, they're pretty much the big name.
People sent me pictures of here's the mall, and here's the mall, and it's if you're ever in Maryland, here's the mall, and here's the crystal place, and if you're ever in New Jersey, here's the. I'm laughing my butt off.
So after that last interview, and obviously, I hope everybody shares this show. We got a big weekend coming up at the Virginia National. Spider-Man McBride and Dave are going to race, right? Like, if you care about pro stock motorcycle at all, you should be sharing the show right now. And even if you care about drag racing, you should be sharing the show, because this is a big event. We got Top Fuel Harleys, we got Spider-Man McBride, who was on yesterday, and we got this pro stock motorcycle thing going on, in addition to Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Mod, Mountain Motor Pro Stock, Factory Stock Showdown. It's going to be a great event, weather permitting, but this thing between you guys is heated up a little bit. I got phone calls from a bunch of people after that last one, and Angel said, I'll tell you exactly what she said. She goes, should I slap this fool in the face? Now, she was joking.
She'd have to get on a step ladder.
And I said, I don't think so, Angel. He was just saying you don't work on your own bike. And he was doing a roast. But she said to me, and Angel, if you're out there watching, I hope it's okay that I say this, but she said she liked the fact that you worked so hard for the class, and that you and your crazy antics sometimes are just trying to do something that's good for these bikes and this class, and that she respected that. And if she's got a fight with you in the context of that, she loves it, right? And I felt like that was good. The Angie thing with the finger, she hurt herself, and any kind of like joke about someone when they hurt themselves, I can see that being taken the wrong way. But you've cleared it up, I think, and I hope you continue to stir the pot, because Matt Smith stirs the pot, and he's going to stir the pot back. And everyone needs to be respectful, but you guys can't do Will Smith. You can't be Will Smith. Can you promise you're never going to be Will Smith?
Yeah. Where he takes it out into fisticuffs.
Yeah, where he got physical. Like, that's where it gets crazy. That's where
if you remember, he laughed about it, and then when he looked at his gal, she wasn't happy, and then he unloaded a program and put in another program, and then went over there and hit the guy. And I guess, everybody's got an opinion if it was real or not, but blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's, it is a little bit of a soup sandwich, but Pazinski, I haven't even talked to him. I really didn't dog him out. I was just like, and Chris, I listened to that part. That was funny. Hey, Chris, you're going to tie your son at this next race. Oh, you're not at the next race. That's why. Right. Okay. So that was good stuff.
Well, exactly. And I like the fact that you're trying and you're calling out your opponents and you're backing it up on the racetrack. And everyone out there, like Gary Emmons out there, I'm going to bring Steve a stick for all the crap you stir. He's a great Pro Stock bike ambassador. Exactly. Like what's going on with these bikes? You cannot deny how passionate Steve is. Pro Stock motorcycle. You can't. Terry Sutton out there. Steve, did you trade in the broccoli for cheeseburgers this week? So yes, you don't have to only eat broccoli from now on because they put 10 pounds on your bike. Is that going to slow you down, or is that just going to make you a healthier person so you don't have to starve yourself?
No, I think what's and for y'all, when the 4 valves came out, we all had 2 valves at 113 cubic inches, and the Harleys and the V-twins had 160 cubic inches at 630 or 640 or something. So then when the 4 valves came out, they added 10 pounds to us. So we were 610 against their 640 or 630. And then after Gainesville, at the start of the year, they added another 10 pounds. So now we're 620 against their 630 or 640. And then after Gainesville, they took 10 off of the Buells. So then I think that made them 630. And now they added 10 pounds to the Suzuki's again, which is 630. All due respect, I get my own opinion. They've never made these kind of changes that I can remember as aggressively as they have lately. And there's a new regime in there. So they're doing what they think is right. And that's the same thing with me. They think they are doing what's right for the class and for the sport. I get that. How do you argue that with somebody? And that's what I try to get across to people. If I'm in a boat and I'm drilling holes in it, that doesn't make sense. You're going to drown, right? You're going to sink. That doesn't make sense. I love the class. It's my career. It's how I, in theory, make money to pay my bills. I'm not going to do anything specifically to smoke the class. That's just ludicrous for somebody to think about. But everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So
right. So
the 10 pounds is definitely going to hurt us. It's going to get to a level to where, when you fill up a glass of milk, say it's an 8-ounce glass of milk, right? And you fill it all the way up to the top, it's got 8 ounces in it. Well, in theory, and all in actuality, you can put another couple of drops in there, right? And you might even be able to get a 1/4 of an ounce in there over the 8 ounces if it's really an 8-ounce glass. It starts to get that little bit of a bow over it. And that's what happens with our motorcycles, I think. I think we can go over this weight threshold a little bit on at least my package, but I think at some point, you put 10 drops in there and it gets that crown over it. You put the 11th drop in there, and then you lose all that crown, and you lose a little bit more, right? And I think that's what could happen with the motorcycles, and that's why it's going to be fun to watch and fun to participate, because the balance of the motorcycle is going to be so changed. And when I went to Mom's for Mother's Day, and what a blessed day, Mother's Day. And Matt Smith has the nicest mom on the planet. I mean, my mom's nice too, and everybody's mom's nice, but Matt Smith's mom is the sweetest, nicest mom I know. So
we have a wonderful family over there. And see, I get scared even saying anything, even saying someone else's mom is a wonderful person, right? Like, oh man, that guy's mom is great. It's like, what do you talk about my mom for? Well, because she's a wonderful person. Oh, well, you don't know.
I might get in trouble. But anyway, I went to mom, and man, I went to the buffet.
You fed like an animal. You ate like an animal.
I mowed down some food. I definitely gained some weight.
Well, good. And Mike Mullaney is out there. Mike is a friend of the show. He says, add more weight because us big guys want to play too. And think about Andrew Hines. So there are a lot of guys that they're just naturally a little bit bigger. They could be great riders, and their problem is they're handicapped by their general size, and they're not.
Hey, at least Eddie Krawick admits it. He just says he's fat. Oh, right. I mean, I mean, he might have said that. I might have misinterpreted that. I apologize.
Eddie got a little chubby middle of last year. The pandemic weight, it's all off now. Eddie is fine. All right, so let's talk about this win.
Hey, he is married to the pizza girl. Y'all, drag racing is the best. Not only do you make money and have a career, he met his wife there. I mean, she's the girl that delivered. She's the girl that made the pizza at Englishtown. I'm like, every racetrack I go to see if there's pizza. I mean, she's so cool, and she's an awesome gal, and I just keep going to the pizza places hoping I'm going to find a gal.
See, right there, that could be taken very negatively, Steve, that you're diminishing past jobs, pizza gal. Like,
no, I'm intrigued with it.
Can't say that anymore, Steve. You can't. All right, so let's talk about, look, this is a hot topic in our world right now. It's like, what is okay to say and what is okay to not say, and nobody really likes having to double clutch on what you're going to say. Like, oh man, this would be funny, but I shouldn't say.
That's hilarious. That's funny. I hear we're giving $2 billion to Ukraine. Does that mean we're going to get your titanium back in our country?
Well, hopefully. And obviously I want them, we don't want to talk politics here on WFO radio, but I want them to win at all cost. And, that's a different story for a different day, but yeah, we need parts, we need pieces, they need grain, they need food. We need that to stop ASAP. But what is the right thing to say? I think in our world here, our drag racing universe, any competitor should be able to call out any other competitor at any point for racing themed taunts, because everybody
Stevie Fast Jackson does it really good, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. And like, what if one of Stevie Fast Jackson's competitors was a girl? Would he get in trouble from all the ladies out there because he's attacking a girl, but she's a racer? Like, the person who has answered all of these questions over and over again is Erica. And Erica has this experience, and she says, like, bring it on. I'm ready to take on all comers. I've heard it all. Let's battle it out on the track, which I think is great. You've got R2-D2 there. All right. Let's talk about what had to be one of your most dominant days at the racetrack, right? At a track that broke your heart the previous year. Let's talk about the previous October race where I don't want to say you were cruising to victory or anything, but you crossed the center line, you hit a block, and I think that's where your championship run stopped.
Yeah.
And we didn't ask you about this at the track because I didn't want to interject like a real negative moment. But now that you won and you're going racing again, you've won back-to-back races, I want to go back to that moment, Steve, because that had to be a heartbreaker. You were feeling so great. You were running so great. You were in contention. And then that track is always tough. We saw it with Corey Reed. We saw a lot of people kind of go towards the center line there, just part of it. To conquer that track a couple of months later again at the 4-wide, just kind of talk about those connections.
Well, I like that you can make those connections. I noticed one of the sponsors of your show is Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and I can attest to the skill level that they teach. George Bryce was teaching the Pro Stock Motorcycle School, and Jack Beckman worked there on alcohol, and Frank just always got the best people to do everything. If he couldn't be there, and most of the time in all the schools that I ever saw, Frank was almost always there. So I think the key here that I like is that education is such a way to progress yourself in anything that you want to get better at. And dealing with the people that are successful in that area is the people to learn from. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School is incredible. So I failed at some of the fundamentals that I learned at his school, and that's why I hit the cone. It was, we won the first race in the countdown. We were leading the points, and we qualified number 1 in Charlotte, and we're going through the rounds, and then my wheels fell off, kind of, so to speak. But it was very rewarding because that's such a special track to me. Any time you can go to a Bruton Smith racetrack is very, very special. He's such an icon in motorsports, and the people over there. I mean, y'all, I was there at 7 a.m, and they have dogs with police and security running through the whole building and the whole racetrack looking for, terrorist crap, and it's like, that is so cool that they do that. And you try to put it out of your mind because you're there to have fun and stuff like that. And they definitely don't want to do it when the fans are all there, but they check out the place so the fans are taken care of. And that's another thing that not only makes drag racing, but NHRA and ZMAC so special is they go all out, man, to make sure that we have the greatest experience. And the track was in perfect condition. Everything was in perfect condition for us, even in testing the next day. And I just had to stay on my deal. I had so many people there. In the winner's interview, the camera panned and showed all the people, and I even said, "Hey, John Forrest and Richard Childress, look at my payroll."
Yes. Well, I was down there for that, Steve.
So many people down there.
You do. You cannot say you do not have people helping you. And you had a big moment down there, and I want you to tell me about this moment.
Oh, that is so cool, y'all. Oh, no matter, I don't care who you are. You can be Matt. You can be, the other Ryan Naylor. I didn't dog him out at all last show, and I promised I would this time. I just haven't. He does have quite the. Every time you talk to that guy, he tells you how the golf cart went out of control and it was aiming right towards Whiteley's $2 million motor coach, and he jumped into the golf cart at the last second, turned the wheel, and it went off into this ditch and stuff, but he didn't hit the $2 million coach, so it's like Ryan's always got a story, but he always tells it with a smile. So but where I was going with that is I think I kind of forgot where I was going with that.
We were talking about John Forrest giving.
Yeah. The story. No matter who you are, you got to like that. I mean, Forrest, I was just raving and caving how he's our Elvis. And, I didn't know he was going to win, obviously, but he was there. And I was talking about how cool it is to be in winner's circle, because that's where he's been 155 times. By the way, I was wondering, what do you think he does with all, we get jackets. We get a Camping World jacket when you win the event. And you put a name on it and you wear it. Well, what do you do with 155 of them? I was curious about that. It'd be interesting to ask your viewers what would be cool to do
ask Force
with another jacket.
Well, he'll win again. We'll have Force on the show. All right. So listen, I was down there.
It was cool to have him bow there and do this. I mean, that was so special. So special.
Well, and you guys won back-to-back at 4-wide. Like you won back-to-back Houston 4-wide in 2022, but you and John had also won 4-wide in 2021 and had gone back-to-back at that track. So that was kind of cool that you got to share the winner's circle. And a lot of problems, though, over the course of the race weekend. What's this? You sent me this photograph. Hopefully that's it. Like things burned up, broke up. What was this? Hopefully I picked the right picture that you had sent.
Yeah, but, you did. I heard you say 4-wide in Houston. I think I might have misheard you, but I know.
Yeah, well, Houston and then 4-wide, but also last year 4-wide. Like you went back to back in two different ways is what I'm trying to say.
It's just one-on-one, and I'm still interpreting things the way, that's our life, right? So that folks is a battery. I think then everybody in motorsports pretty much uses these lipo batteries. I forgot what it stands for, but even Don Garlitz is in this dragster that's electrically powered, and it's got these super powerful batteries. These are not super powerful batteries. These are low dollar batteries, but it fits my budget, and I'm not complaining about it. But we
say you built it yourself. Like I found that to be interesting that you built a battery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you buy the cells and then you buy these little tabs and then you solder them however you want to configure the voltage. So you can put the batteries in series, or you can put them together parallel. So each cell is 2.3 volts, and I put a handful of those things in there to build up some voltage. And I solder the tabs together, weld the tabs. I learned it from the battery company. And so when you do that, it's a little uneven. So you wrap it all up, and then I put it on my motorcycle. Well, it goes like this down the track, 200 miles an hour, things are going to vibrate. And I didn't scrap it. I didn't have time. And I zip tied it. And anyway, I thought it was all good. But the problem was it's going like this against the metal, and it wore off all that padding, and then it shorted out the batteries. And that happened right before the final round. And luckily Barry, my buddy Barry, saw it. He saw smoke coming out from the front of the motorcycle, and he says, "Hey, we need to look in here." I mean, that race was just meant to be won. I mean, no matter what we did, we were going to win that race, I think. So luckily Barry saw it. We need to upgrade. There's a buddy of mine. His name's Jamie, and he's got this Harley Davidson dealership in Tennessee. It's called Moonshine. And there's a bunch of great dealers up there, but he has Moonshine, and he's committed to buying me these new fancy batteries. So I'm really, really excited about that. And V-Twin Power Sports, they work on our cylinder heads and stuff. You know, if you want to have a fast Harley Davidson, you look up V-Twin Power Sports, and they do some incredible stuff to Harley Davidsons, and it's mail order. You can mail order both of these people. So a little shout out to Harley Davidson people that you wouldn't think comes out of the mouth of an inline four guy.
Well, I think it's great. You support motorcycles so great. Okay, so I happen to be at the top end, and not like I was in quasi-official capacity, and I feel like it's my job to document drag racing as opposed to just stand around and watch. And so I documented a moment or two. I want to share it right now and just have you watch. I don't know if we'll be able to hear you comment, so just comment over after it's over. But this was the first one, like you getting, funny, being a little bit of a clown, but also just taking in the moment. What do you want to say?
Man, this is so special. Charlotte is, I've got a lot of NASCAR friends, and Danny Lawrence, how are you out there? And look at my team. Hey, Richard Childress, I'm name dropping. How about my payroll? Look at that, man. Woo! But love drag racing. And John Force, thank you for leading us. You're our Elvis Presley. Did I say Elvis Presley?
For everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
So there you go. Danny Lawrence. Now I know Danny, right? Danny.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, Danny was. I'm pretty sure that. But anyway, good job with that. How about this one? What are you doing here?
Love it. Thank you. Oh, Marcus Scan. I forgot to say Marcus Scan. Oh my gosh. Yes, look at this, guys. Oh, look at them work the cameras. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, Barry, we did it. Oh, yeah, we did it. This is the hardest crew guy on the planet. Win or nothing.
There you go. That moment.
You gotta put this in perspective I want to put this in perspective for the viewers. And it's like, I say corny all the time, but it is corny. But if you go to a family reunion, or if you see people that are truly what you feel like is family, I mean, you want to hug on them. I mean, the photographers, the media people, the crew people, the safety safari, the people that bring you the time ticket. I mean, everybody at the NHRA race is family to me. I hope I'm not the drunk uncle where there's like, oh, he's going to show up. But it's like, I love this. This is my family. So I think if you went to 5 different weddings, you would have 5 different emotions. And that's what happens at the races. When you win and you're down there, you have way different emotions. And it's based upon how you won that day, and how you were eating, how you were loving, how you were making money, how you were compassionate, how you were trying to help other people, how you flew on the plane. I mean, so many things go on in our lives, in our hearts and our souls, that it comes out when you're on camera. So it's just different for me. And I thought about it. I'm like, wow, I was weird. And I'm like, well, that's just where I was. I'm not going to apologize for it. I was just, and I sit next to the motorcycle because I watched John Force. I watched John Force and Bernstein. I watch all the superstars, Joe Amato and Gary Ormsby. I talked to Larry Dixon, Caps and Alexis. I text Alexis this week she's just a badass. And there's so many. Sean Langdon's is working with Shelly Payne's daughter, Maddie, and Maddie's killing it. Maddie's doing awesome. And in the muscle milk car. So, and Jay, they've given me great leadership. I've gotten so much leadership from so many people, and I just feel compelled. I love on everybody, to a certain extent. And then there's some that I don't. And I think it's all good. So, those emotions are real. People say John Force. It's not John Force. It's Steve Johnson. Whatever you may view, it's your opinion. But I'm telling you, I ain't trying to mimic nobody. I'm trying to be the best version of me on the planet. And I want to do it this weekend too.
Okay, so let's talk about this weekend. All right, let's assume that Mon Nature is not going to mess with us and we're going to have a wonderful weekend, right? We already talked about Spider-Man McBride, and he said that he likes what you guys are doing. Obviously, he's real close with Angie as well. It's kind of interesting, the motorcycle community. This guy's a god. He's going to be out there running in the fives. Who knows what he's going to do, but everyone is showing up to see that. Hopefully all motorcycle fans from that region recognize that this is like a big deal for the bikes. But let's talk about your deal. Maybe you can piggyback on that too. Like, fans of motorcycles, this is a huge event. Harley's, Pro Stock Motorcycle, match race with Spider-Man McBride, all in one spot, Richmond, Virginia. That's huge. But are you going to keep this going? Are you going to keep this stirring the pot going? Are you going to back down from talking this trash for fun, Stevie Fast style, kind of?
Well, you can categorize it however you want. First of all, Dave Van Tine, it let me sit on his motorcycle, and I can't remember if it was running or not, but oh my gosh, those things are incredible, y'all. It's just incredible. It's to go 260 miles an hour on a fuel bike is just the baddest thing on the planet, I think. Ron Armstrong was one of the guys that came up with the racepack computer that monitors all the data that goes on any racing vehicle across the board. And there's lots of copycats and stuff, but he used to race fuel boats and hydroplane, and that's pretty darn crazy. People would die at every event that he went to, 10 in 1 year or something like that. But these guys are just superstars. They are fearless. And it's going to be so exciting. I want all the fuel people to be up there and watch them, because I feel like a part of the fraternity when Larry, Spider-Man McBride, and Dave Van Tine come to the race. And Larry's right in that area. He works on motorcycles for people, and his brother Steve is an incredible machinist like me. I'm just an incredible machinist. You can ask me.
Yes. Hey,
I ruined so many pistons of last year, and I was just doing something else, trying to make something for some lead. Eddie showed his thing about tungsten. He's going to put tungsten on his bike because it's very small package and it's very dense.
Yes.
Well, who the hell's got tungsten? Who the hell's got tungsten money? It's $800 for a little thing.
Yeah.
I'm over there. I went to the local tire shop, and I got the lead that they had pulled off.
Yes.
And I put it in a bucket. I asked them if I could have it. They gave it to me. And then I melted it down with a butane torch and took out the clips. And I put it in this little form, and I made a little lead puck that I can put on my bike. It was free. It's at my time. But I mean, that's the difference in haves and have-nots. It's all good. I'm still gonna be we're still gonna weigh the same amount. He just gets to put more of it, I guess, where he wants. But the making runs there, smooth, consistent runs. I'm gonna be on the Tony Toll bike this weekend. Mac Rack's still there with me, and I support Samtech. I just love that Samtech guys. They do a fantastic job. But I'm not going to have my regular crew. Jock's coming, but Chris at Superior and Glenn, they're not coming to this event. And my buddy at Jason Smith is coming from his powder coating place. So he's going to come and help out, and I'm real excited about that. And Brady Contracting, they're mechanical contractors. They're coming. So and they're coming, and they're leaving and going to a wedding on Monday morning. So it's like, I'm just so blessed to have this kind of help.
Well, you've got help now, and that's part of it. And you've earned this help. And there's the people that it's interesting. You know, you've heard the term polarizing, right? Polarizing. But it's not necessarily bad. It's just there are people that are coming to you because of all of this. And then there are people that are going in other directions because of this. And you know, Matt Smith is going to win again. And so is Eddie Krawick. And so is Angel. And what are they going to do with their moment, right? And how are they going to bring in new fans? But this is what has to happen. And I hope it would happen more in the Nitro ranks too, where
wait a minute. What was that name? What was the first? You said somebody was going to win. What? I wanted to write that down. What was the name?
I said Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. All right. I've heard of him. Yep.
He's going to win again at some point.
And who else?
I felt like Eddie Krawick is going to win.
Eddie Krawick. I've heard of him too. Yep.
Angel.
Who?
Angel. She's a pretty good thing. She's a pretty big deal. Let me say it in another way.
Oh, the glitter girl. Yes, I remember. Okay.
Also known as the winningest, woman racer in NHRA history. But
all those people you mentioned are all at least 3-time champions or more.
Gods of drag racing.
But they were very successful.
Yes,
they're very successful in our sport, and it's all I've wanted for 30-something years is to. I don't think I really necessarily felt like I had to win a championship. I always said if I won, I'd be gone. But it's like I want to be part of the fraternity,
this is the year. This is the year, Steve. This is your chance. This is the year. Here we go. It starts this weekend again. You got a chance to win 3 in a row. Winning 3 in a row.
John Asher even said, "Hey, man, just go do it, man." I'm like, wow.
John Asher is still commenting on NHRA Drag Racing. What's up with that? I thought Asher retired.
He started me. He told me you don't want to deal with family or friends with sponsors. You need sponsors. This is how you do it. He went to the first sponsor meeting with me. He helped me get Slick 50.
Wow.
He's a mentor for absolutely for sure.
Asher, listen, he's a mentor to a lot of people, and he loved drag racing so much and would come to the races up until very recently. And then he said, but I get it, right? I get it, the energy to travel all the time. But it's great that he's still behind the scenes. But
that spare bike, I even heard got Bob Fry interested. Like, what is that rule? So even Bob Fry was asking questions about that. I'm like,
apparently that's the rule. So now the rule is the rule, and it is what it is. And I think that once you've allowed that to happen, it's going to be very interesting to see if that's just part of it, right? If that's just part of it, all right, bring out the other one. The weather conditions change, gets like, I don't know what the answer is. Like, could one bike like sunny conditions better than another bike? The clouds come out, bring out a different bike. Like, I don't know where that's going to go. But again, more interest for the category. All right, final thoughts, Steve. Anything else you want to say out there to your fans before we part ways?
I think the race and the season is going to keep going up. I think the shows are getting better all the time. I think the fans in Houston were clearly off the chart. I can't wait to get to Reading and Indy. We're going to go to St. Louis again. Slick 50 is just right behind me all the time. I mean, literally behind me, and they make a great engine product. You can get it at O'Reilly. I think MacRack's going to come on with a couple of major sponsors, or come on as a major sponsor for us for a few more races. And the USA Electric guy is going to be there. Hopefully we're going to get these batteries reconfigured. A big shout out to my guy. Look at High Performance Lubricants. I mean, I live in these clothes and stuff like that, but Engine Dynamics is in Newhall, California. He used to work out there. This is what's cool for anybody listening about sponsors. Go look up people that used to race and used to crew. They're in successful businesses. And they have a lot of love for our sport, and sometimes they'll help you with gas money. So I'm so thankful to Brian and Engine Dynamics out there in Newhall, and my buddy Eddie Alvarez and Bill Meropoulos. He posted a picture of his BED dragster, something like that, and what he drives today, which is his Roadster. He's driven 60,000 miles, I think, on his Roadster. That's got 3 carburetors. Fascinating story how he got those carburetors to work. But Hogan built the heads, or Hogan built the manifold. So there's just our class is full. Mark Ingersoll is coming, and still all the Karen Stouffer's coming. She's just a badass as always.
You're name checking everybody. You're name checking everybody in the entire sport, and that someone commented earlier, like, "Wow, Steve knows other people in the sport. Like you know other people in the sport. You keep up with things other than what's right in front of you."
Oh, other than our class, especially, and Pro Stock is so cool to watch. You know, they're going to Epping, right? But we all get back together in Bristol. And it's so weird racing without those guys because McGahey, I mean, he's got it. He has vanilla wafers in his pit area all the time. And you can actually learn something over there too. So, and clearly his son, Mason, that's what our sport is loving. All this youth and stuff. Camry's in there, but I'm a fan of this sport. You know, it's like, Justin Ashley in that Phillips Connect, he's a sponsor of the show.
Yes.
Y'all, if you got a truck and trailer, you have got to get hooked up with them. That has been in our technology for a while, but that technology is so important to have. We have a little bit of it in our little tiny trailer, but man, if you got a tractor trailer or you know somebody, it is a great value position to take that data to people and let them know about it.
Well, absolutely. And thank you. You're working hard for WFO here today. This is great. And Justin is coming on at 2:00, guys. This is not the only WFO of the day. And if you're watching into the future and this is in the past, well, you can go find it in our archive on our WFO app or on Apple Podcasts.
He did one of the best acceptance of a rookie speeches that I have ever heard. He's just a humble guy, y'all. But he's a badass on the racetrack, you know, and his dad, he learned from his dad. It's you know, Matt's good because I mean his dad is good, is good or was, or you know, if he's still racing, I don't know.
No, he still is. Tricky Ricky made the final round out there 4 wide. In fact, was part of that. Kind of got a little victimized by that weird catastrophe in the final round of Pro Mod. But yes, they are all good. All right, one final question, Mike Mullaney. You know he knows his stuff. But he goes, what's it going to take to get more pro stock motorcycle racers into the sport? Steve, your opinion. Well,
I don't know, man. I think absolute answer. We have to do a better job of communicating what our sport is. You go on Facebook, you go on the internet, you go on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, and there is a picture of a pro stock motorcycle with television and a fans and a sanction body, a big Camping World logo, and then you click on that, and then it gives you all these drop downs. How many people it takes to run the team, what it costs to build an engine or buy an engine, what it costs to run it for the year. And you need to promote that entire infrastructure as a career or as a hobby and let more people know about it. You can't expect people to make chocolate chip cookies if they've never heard about them. So we need to do a better, I feel, my opinion, and I actually started doing it this week. I actually started laying it out on paper. And I think that if we do that with our sport, I think we will be a better sport. We'll have more competitors because at the end of the day, everybody likes to be on TV. Everybody likes to make money. Everybody likes to compete. And the diversity in our sport is incredible. So I think the answer is to convey what goes on at a racetrack and how to get to the racetrack from a career and a business standpoint. And I think the gates will flood.
I love it. I love where you're coming from with that. And we all want that. We want to see great success. You know, I went to Formula One Miami this past weekend and there's a lot of money.
I wanted to ask you all about that. Was that exciting to see? Was there a zillion people there?
There was a zillion people. I'm reading some of the storylines. Most of them are positive, 80% positive, 20% negative. Most of the negative stuff are people who weren't there, but so many ideas, Steve, and so much is possible when there's money. Right.
You know who loves in our sport, Formula One is Austin Coyle. He loves that formula. He's got a perspective on what happened and this and that. And it's fascinating to listen to his perspective on that. And
good. He'll be my next victim on NHRA Talks Formula One. We got a lot of people in our drag racing sport that love Formula One. And I can tell you, every one of those people I saw there this weekend would love to see your motorcycle. And they would think it was amazing and badass. And they would love it. And they would watch it and they would think it was cool. It's just like you said, like if they don't know it exists, then how can they make the call? right?
I mean, every person on a Formula One team is an engineer. I mean, how much does an engineer make? I mean, like, they're so far. How fast would our motorcycle be? They'd know exactly where to put the weight. Yo, when we put the weight on our bike, I mean, I'm gonna eat some cheeseburgers and stuff. Clearly, I'm gonna bump up another 5 pounds for sure.
Where do you put the weight?
What's that?
Where do you put the weight? Derek wants to know.
Yeah, where do you put the weight? I mean, you don't know what to do. I mean, we got Mickey Thompson tires that when you put the weight in the very, very back, it pivots too quick. If you put it up front, it won't pivot at all. So, do you put it in the middle? And then if it's in the middle, it's not really giving you an advantage. And so there's just so many things. NGK, we'll probably have NGK spark plugs coming out of our ears, but we'll put them in a spot where we can spark all the gasoline that we can to try to move that weight. And it will be different because we don't get to test.
Steve wants to know, or Daniel wants to know, if you'll sign a pot and a spoon at Bristol for him. Like that, he thinks should be like you should have commemorative Steve Johnson logo pots with
How many people bring props to your show?
You are a couple, actually, but you
wow.
We have that kind of show, Steve. You've been on with us for 50 minutes.
And Brittany, look at Brittany. Everybody knows I'm a fan of Grubby and stuff like that, but it's like Brittany's killing it, and she killed it on the tree. I mean, she talks about her reaction time. She was killing it on the tree, so that's going to give her a lot of confidence, y'all. Yeah. Justin, you bet. Your lights are badass, and Antron. What has happened to Antron? He's got an awesome crew chief. I mean, they're struggling, but when that all comes together, they're going to be brutal. That Mako thing is going to be brutal.
Well, I want to pat myself on the back. My first National Dragster column of the year said that this would be the best season of NHRA drag racing ever, and we're off to a start where it could be possible. And that's all we're doing. So, Steve.
And Cruz with the Snap-on car. I'm a big Snap-on fan. And it's like his team, John over there. I mean, they're going to – that's what's so cool. And, that thing with Caps, I mean, he's like this and like this and like that 4-wide stuff is just the most coolest, funnest race. I know Larry Dixon hates it. I'm sorry. He says we should put 2 at one end and 2 at the other end and go this way. I didn't say that, Larry.
He won. He didn't win back to back like you did, right? Once you win, it changes your opinion.
Yeah, it does. But the fans are so cool at that race and so fun. So if you have a chance to come to an NHRA race this year, you got to do it. Come see me. I'll give you something for free. I promise. I'll make it worth your while. Just give me a great story. Give me a great story, and I'll give you something for free.
There it is. I'll give you something for free. Something you should never say on the air, Steve. Like, hey, who wants something for free? And here they come. You're going to have the biggest weekend at your pit ever before. Steve, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day and be fantastic human beings.
That's it. Be fantastic human beings, says Steve Johnson. That's a positive message. You're like, what's negative about that? That's a positive message. Be a fantastic human being. Yeah, but what do you mean by fantastic? What does that mean exactly? It could go in a bunch of different directions depending on your personal stuff. Steve Johnson, my goodness, that was great. And he continues to stir the pot. And he did bring prop comedy, which I like. He's stirring the pot. That's what you got to do. You got to stir the pot. Will his competition be able to respond on the racetrack? That is the question. And will this go on all year long? Click subscribe, hammer that bell. Get notifications, download the WFO Radio app, because we are going to cover the story all year long. And whoever wins this race this weekend, they're going to get their chance to retort the following week, which is how we do it on WFO. Being on the show is part of winning. And, even if there's someone that I hate them like poison, they win, I invite them on. There's nobody that I hate like poison. There's nobody not out here in this community. All right, everybody, put your comments in the comment section. Final comments into the comment section, and I will read your comments and your thoughts. I will tell you, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because we're going to be back on with Justin Ashley in 1 hour. 1 hour, another show. That is right. We're doing 2. You can imagine why I wanted to break them up, because this one is going out to the Pro Stock Motorcycle crowd, and Justin is probably going to go out to the more of the Top Fuel crowd, and people who love everything like I do will watch them both. But that's how we do on WFO Radio. All right, so the people who make it possible, like I talk about Marvin Rodak all the time. If you like coffee, which is everybody, and you haven't tried his coffee, then you're missing out. You're also letting me down. You're letting me down a little bit. Come on, I do the show. I got a couple of sponsors. I need you to buy a little coffee every once in a while. Hot sauce, spice rub. In fact, I had a panic moment earlier today. I'm out of habanero endorphin booster hot sauce. My life is going to change. So I gotta get going. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call Marvin, 817-924-6821. Coffee roasted fresh per your order. Call Marvin, get some hot sauce and spice rub. And Frank Hawley got some love from Steve right there. And when Bryce used to do that school, and now they're trying to figure out about the pipeline, by the way. But Frank and Lana Hawley, like, my opinion is that I just want my listeners to do the dragster adventure and spend a day with them. And that is really the most affordable way to taste this, to test drive this. Some people jump right in, get their super comp license. It's a little more expensive. Dragster adventure. They travel to you with their dragsters. That's cool. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. I love the fact that Steve is like name checking my sponsors, and they, they are here for a reason. They understand that there's energy here. Like, people who really love drag racing, really love drag racing. You tolerate Castello because you love drag racing, and you get to see stuff like we just saw. And if you want to work in drag racing or work in motorsports or work in a machine shop, not ruin pistons, samtech.edu. Call Brian Massengill. Tell him you heard it here. We're going to learn more about Phillips Connect when Justin Ashley is on. But the idea that you've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment in your trailer and you're not monitoring it. Like, are you monitoring your office? Are you monitoring your home? The answer, I'm sure, is yes. Are you monitoring your trailer or countless trailers for your business? The answer should be yes. It's one of those prevention situations. Phillips-Connect.com. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Great new podcast. I don't want to go into too much detail other than high dollar demolition derby. Did you know it existed? High dollar, like big money demolition derby. $20,000, $50,000 races, demolition derby. Go listen to the most recent Hidden Horsepower podcast and learn about ring seal at totalseal.com. VP Racing Fuels. Keep saying that we're going to have Freddie on. We are going to have Freddie on. In fact, we got a couple of weeks between Richmond and our next event, and we will talk with Freddie Terza from VP Racing Fuels. But if you are just a listener and you're not in the market for racing fuel, VP Lubricants, VP Fuel Additives, a great way for you to support WFO Radio and VP Racing Fuels. And then there's FTI Performance Racing Transmissions and Torque Converters. DeLand, Florida. If you are in the big money bracket game, the Weekend Warrior bracket game, .90, it's just impossible to go to a race where there's multiple final rounds and not find FTI transmissions in the final round. Go to their website, ftiperformance.com, and tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And of course, our Patreons. These are VIP listeners. They pay a monthly fee for behind-the-scenes access, for special shows. We did a lot with Formula One with them because they are the best supporters that we have, because they love the show and they tolerate Castello for all the behind-the-scenes benefits. All right, let's see what everybody else has got to say. Let's see what you got to say. Final comments as we get ready. But remember, we got another show coming up. We got another show at 2:00. Mike says, put the weight in your pocket, Steve. Don't do that, Steve. Don't put the weight in your pocket. This guy says, Joe, block the porn bot. I am blocking the porn bot, man. Like, I don't know what to say, Stan. Like, that's how you know you've made it big on the YouTube. We're always telling everybody about our WFO Radio TV YouTube channel. And apparently the porn bots have figured out that we're live streaming and they want access to the WFO universe. And I'm blocking them as fast as they're popping up, man. They're popping up. And the bots too. Troy says, need to go to subscriber only mode in the chat. Is that possible? Subscriber only mode. Yeah, we're still learning the YouTube, honestly, guys. Any YouTube experts out there, I'd be willing to hear your opinions. Steve, I hope to meet you in Dallas. Could never catch up to you last year, says Derek. I'm busy reporting. Exactly. The only thing is if they subscribe. Well, we want people to subscribe, obviously, to the channel. You got it going on when bots attack. Exactly. We had bots attack today. That's how big a deal it was. Steve is crazy, but I wouldn't want him any other way. He's a great ambassador for the sport. Steve Johnson is. I was there when he won the first 4 wide. I've got an interview and pictures somewhere under the tower. I was working at XM Satellite Radio at the time. Didn't ask him about the big party at Mike Wallace's house. Should have done that. Like, what's that all about? With the F1 race in Vegas next fall, how great would it be to see an NHRA exhibition for the fans to experience? Well, I think that everybody should be working on that together. With all those F1 fans, guys, there were 100,000 of them there. And they were ready to spend money, and they were looking for a fun experience. Know any other sports that are a fun experience that also take money? I do. Can't wait to hear from Justin. Yeah, 2 o'clock. What's this? All right. Kaiser, West Virginia is way to go, Stephen. Thank you very much. And just like that, guys, this one is over. We are going to bring on Justin Ashley at 2 o'clock, a separate show. And what you can do for me is download that WFO Radio free mobile app. There's one for iPhone. There's one for Android. And it has been updated. And what's great about it, it was one of the first apps in all of drag racing. We had one of the first mobile apps in all of drag racing. Think about the world and life before iPhone and before smartphone. When those things broke not that long ago, WFO, couple years in, mobile app for the podcast. And it has been great. But then there was a time where I said to myself, we don't need the mobile app anymore because everyone just listens on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. But what if everything WFO was all in one spot? Now you can go to the video section and watch the videos. You can go to the audio section and listen to the audio podcast. You can go to the merch shop and get WFO t-shirts and coffee mugs like I did yesterday. And you can follow along with WFO news. But the most important thing is push notifications, enable the notifications. Because when I send out a message that says, Steve Johnson stirring the pot on WFO, you'll know. WFO meetup in the pits at so-and-so's pit, you'll know. And you'll know everything that I want you to know directly. Whereas everybody is not always following on Twitter and they're not always following on Facebook. Steve is definitely not an introvert. Definitely not. Oh, Adam Rhodes. Steve Johnson, your 2022 Pro Stock Motorcycle World Champion. Speaking of stirring the pot right there, Adam Rhodes. What's up, Adam? Speaking of talented guys. Hit the merch store. Get a coffee mug. Everything in the merch store is on sale right now. T-shirts are, $14. That's practically free. T-shirts are $14. So go take advantage of the sale in the merch store right now. And there's some new designs up there. The archive loaded. We've got our Formula One Miami preview. We got our post show. We got Reinhart. And now we got Steve Johnson. Soon we'll have Justin Ashley coming up at 2 o'clock. Yeah, 2 shows in a day. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Because Justin Ashley is getting ready to go to Richmond. And so are we for the first time in 2 years. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Less than an hour from now. WFO